The basics. Environmental science is the branch of biology that focuses on the study of the relationship of the natural world and the relationships between organisms and their environment. They are mainly responsible for monitoring environmental conditions and conducting environmental impact observations. Environmental science is similar to ecology. In environmental science, more aspect is placed on the biological aspect, while ecology often focuses mainly on the interaction between species in the same ecosystem. Environmental scientist/biologist focuses on the impact of human activities on those ecosystems studied in ecology and the species living in them. The job of an environmental scientist. Environmental scientists investigate the impact of actions, pollutants, and conditions on wild communities. For example, they might study indicator species like worms that live at the bottom of rivers, lakes, and streams to assess overall ecosystem health. The scientists might delineate wetland area, assess water quality, or investigate the impact of proposed development. Environmental biologists may also determine the impact of water waste discharge, agriculture, and urban runoff, and other conditions. Others may conduct wetland delineation, classify wetland types, and conduct habitat assessment. The Gulf oil spill. In 2010, the Deepwater Horizon oil spill occurred in the Gulf of Mexico. This oil spill is still recognized as the worst oil spill in the U.S. The explosion and sinking of the Deepwater Horizon oil rig killed 11 people. Days later, underwater cameras revealed the BP pipe was leaking oil and gas on the ocean floor about 42 miles off the coast of Louisiana. By the time the well was closed, an estimated 3.19 million barrels of oil had leaked into the Gulf. That's over 130 million gallons of oil. Numerous scientists and researchers descended upon the Gulf region to gather data about the tragic spill. Introducing environmental science. Many scientists are trying to take credit for the initial fathering/creating of environmental science, including Rex and Oliniers. The true fathers of environmental science are Ernest Haeckel, John Wesley Powell, and Henry Davis Thoreau. Ernest Haeckel coined the term ecology. In the mid-1800s in the United States, a focus on the environment and its preservation was beginning to emerge. Henry David Thoreau lectured about preservation of the world through wildlands. John Wesley Powell navigated the Colorado River and later wrote a report on the lands of the arid West. Current environmentalist. Person of the Year Greta Thunberg is one of the most current environmental scientists. Although she isn't a scientist, she is an activist in climate change, which is just as beneficial because it brings the environment to the attention of the public. Greta made an appearance at Climate Action, a meeting to discuss the climate and plans for the future. It was there at this climate conference she made her "How Dare You" speech. In her speech, Greta claimed that unless we actually act on our proposed solutions, we only have a 50% chance of not causing the world temperature to rise 1.5 degrees Celsius and cause an irreversible extinction of life. But that 50% does not include tipping scales of unseen hot pockets and additional warming hidden by toxic air pollution. Technology advancements in the future. Thermodepolymerization. Any carbon-based waste from turkey guts to used tires can, by adding sufficient heat and pressure, be turned into oil through a process called thermodepolymerization. This is very similar to how nature produces oil, but with this technology, the process is expedited by millions of years to achieve the same byproduct. Proponents of this technology claim that a ton of turkey waste can make up about 600 pounds of petroleum. Hydrogen power. Hydrogen fuel cell usage has been taught as a pollution-free alternative to using fossil fuels. They make water by combining hydrogen and oxygen. In this process, they generate electricity. The problem with fuel cells is obtaining the hydrogen. Molecules such as water and alcohol have been proceeded to extract hydrogen to feed into a fuel cell. Some of these processes require the usage of other energy sources, which then defeats the advantage of this clean fuel. Most recently, scientists have come up with ways to power laptops and small devices with fuel cells. And some car companies are promising that soon we'll be seeing cars that emit nothing but clean water. The promise of a hydrogen economy, however, is not one that all experts agree will ever be realized. Ocean thermal energy conversion. The biggest solar collector on Earth is our ocean mass. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, the ocean absorbs enough heat from the sun to equal the thermal energy contained in 250 billion barrels of oil each day. The U.S. consumes about 7.5 billion barrels a year. OTEC Technologies converts the thermal energy from the oceans and turns it into electricity by using the temperature difference between the ocean surface, which is heated, and the cold of the ocean's bottom. The difference in temperature can operate turbines and can drive generators. The major shortcomings of this technology is that it's still not efficient enough to be used as a major mechanism for generating power. Microtube cleanup. Bioremediation uses microbes and plants to clean up contamination. Examples include the cleanups of nitrates and contaminated water with the help of microbes, and using plants to uptake arsenic from contaminated soil, like the image shown above, in a process known as photoremediation. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has used it to clean up several sites. Often native plant species can be used at site cleanups, which are advantages because in most cases they don't require pesticides or watering. In other cases, scientists are trying to genetically modify the plants to take up contaminants in their roots and transport it all the way to their leaves for easy harvesting. As time passes, environmental science might evolve into the thing that saves the earth from a mass extinction. With new ideas, information, and technology being discovered every day, the chance to save the earth is still there. The people who are in this line of work are going to have a job that even in the future will be very important. Zoology is the study of animals and their behavior. Zoologists may specialize in studying a particular animal or animal group. They study the species' interactions in their ecosystems and study their physical characteristics, diet, behavior, and impacts humans have on them. They use this information to monitor and estimate population, address invasive species and other threats, control disease, manage hunting programs, and develop conservation plans. Their knowledge is critical to preventing important habitats and managing wildlife adaptation to climate change. The world's wildlife is increasingly stressed by human activity. Farming and developing have led to habitat loss, for example, the Australia fires. Animals are contending with toxic pollutants in their environment and will be facing threats from climate change. Scientists say we're in the sixth great planetary extinction called Holio extinction, the extinction of the human era. This predicament has made zoologists more important than ever. Environmental engineering is a branch of engineering that is concerned with protecting people from the effects of adverse environmental effects such as pollution. Environmental engineers work to improve recycling, waste disposal, public health, water and air pollution control. Environmental engineers use the principles of engineering, soil science, biology, and chemistry to develop solutions to environmental issues. One of the most important jobs of an environmental engineer is to prevent the release of harmful chemical and biological contaminants into the air, water, and soil. Environmental engineers also are important in detecting the presence of pollutants and tracking them back to their source. With this knowledge, new processes can be designed or existing processes can be modified to reduce or eliminate the release of pollutants.